in Alameda County Coliseum, where the entire World Series may soon be shifted. Certainly all was ready for Game 3 of the Fall Classic, the World Series tonight. The Giants were back home, hoping to cut their deficit in the World Series to 2-1 against the Oakland A's. But when the ground shook, thoughts certainly turned quickly away from baseball and to far more important matters. 13 Sports' John Henk is at Candlestick Park.
Immediately, in the seconds after the quake hit, players put baseball out of their minds and turned their concerns toward their families. Within 10 minutes, Giants second baseman Robbie Thompson went to the children's playroom downstairs here at the Stick, and sure, his wife was already there checking on the kids.
Robbie, where were you when it hit?
I was out on the field.
Yeah. Were most of the players on the field when it hit?
A few of us were.
What happened when it hit? Did players?
I couldn't feel it. I mean, I could feel a little bit, just kind of a little bit of a roll under us out on the field, but you know, you could tell something was happening. First the lights went out, and then I was kind of like, you know, what happened there? And then all of a sudden I felt the roll and knew right away what it was. And by that time the crowd was making a noise, and it looked like a lot of them were getting up out of their seats and headed for an exit.
Within 20 to 30 minutes, the players, Giants and A's together, get on the field into the open area, away from the stadium. The wives, the fathers, and mothers and kids all escorted to be on the field with the players, who are now more fathers and husbands and sons than guys getting ready to play Game 3 of the series.
Did you look for your wife right away?
Yeah, well, we had heard that they had just come. Just a minute. Mickey! Mickey! Mick! Where's the bus?
They're right out here.
So you're getting everybody on a bus, Mick?
We're going to at least try and get the families out of here first.
Where are you going to stay tonight?
Well, we're going to head back to Oakland.
But you know about the bridge?
Yeah, we'll think San Mateo Bridge is all right.
Roughly an hour after the quake, there's still this general sense of bewilderment. Everybody's wondering whether or not the game's going to go on, whether or not they should even be here. Steve Bedrosian, have you ever been through this before?
No, this is kind of scary.
What do you think we should do here?
I think we should try to stay calm here and sort things out. We got other priorities, really. They need to take care of the police and just try to get the people out of here as quietly as they can.
May I have your attention? There has been a power failure, therefore the game will be postponed. We ask that you hold on to your tickets. Rain checks will be honored.
About an hour after the earthquake hit, the players headed away from Candlestick Park, the game now called. No time to change clothes. Gene Nelson with his family, Jose Canseco with his wife Esther, and Roger Craig, the Giants manager, with a pickup full of his family, heading home, safe and sound. At Candlestick Park, John Henk, KOVR 13 Sports.
Probably the only time you're going to see Major League Baseball players driving home in their uniform. Certainly a unique situation created by the earthquake tonight. Now, the plan of the Major League Baseball Commissioner's office is to have Game 3 of the World Series at Candlestick Park tomorrow, if you can believe that. But I tell you what, it certainly doesn't look like it to me, Kim. And as we mentioned earlier, for those that weren't with us, we did have a building inspector with us who's a construction expert, and he told us he didn't see any way that any building inspector could walk into Candlestick Park and say that that place is safe for people to occupy. So that's the story on Candlestick.
Yeah. He said he'd red tag the building, in
right.
fact. And John Henk earlier had a fan standing there live showing us pieces of Candlestick Park,
right.
Concrete pieces in his hand. So doesn't look good from here.
Not at all.
All right. A couple of notes here before we leave you for just a bit. We want to let you know that no one knows how long it's going to be before traffic will get in and out of the Bay Area. So Caltrans is asking us to stay put tonight. We realize, as we are here, that a lot of people are concerned about loved ones, relatives, and friends we have in the Bay Area, but we're not going to do anyone any good by moving about, also by being on the telephone. If you can help it, do not call in the 415 area code. In fact, you tie up circuits even when you make a local call, so if you can stay off the telephone, and you'll be doing a lot of people a favor. We're getting the latest information available. We're passing it along to you, along with our sister station, KGO in San Francisco. So between the two places, we'll keep you up to date. Let's go to Channel 7 in San Francisco right now.
30-foot section of the Bay Bridge. That is, of course, the westbound lanes, and it collapsed onto the lower section of the bridge.
The airport structure, of course, is the thing that we've been updating you about, and right now we want to go to Frank Crocker, who's at San Francisco International. Frank?
Anna, what you're looking at right now is the main control tower above the International building at San Francisco International Airport. You can see that temporary lighting has been set up. We are told that the damage is very minor in the tower area, that it is functional. They had to put in temporary lighting. They lost one pane of glass when the main trembler hit around 5 o'clock. No one was injured up there. They are operational, but the airport remains closed. As you can see, it's a ghost town up here. We're on the departure level. We are finally allowed up here. There are garbage trucks and trash hauling trucks that have moved up, and I'm going to show you why. We're going to take a walk inside the terminal here and show you exactly what happened out here. As you can see, it looks pretty much like a war zone. Ron, if you can pan down here. This is all the drop ceiling in the new international terminal. It's that fibrous, like cardboard substance. It's pretty lightweight. So this all came down in the quake. You can look up at the ceiling, Ron, where you can see where the false ceiling had dropped. They've had major water leaks in here, but as far as structural damage goes, they say they have inspected the airport. They can't find any major structural problems in the buildings. The runways are okay. They've checked those out, but still they've decided that they really can't even entertain the notion of flights going in or out. They evacuated some 15,000 people when all this happened. When we first got to the airport, weren't allowed up here, there were people walking down with their luggage, and a lot of people were complaining, didn't even know the severity of this whole thing, obviously. They'd just gotten off flights. They were out here waiting to go on flights. We had to tell them that this was a major earthquake. There were injuries, there had been deaths, there were fires in the city, and people were pretty much sitting around outside with their luggage waiting for buses in shock. So the airlines were arranging hotels. They've been busing people out of here. They've sent people home who live, obviously, in the Bay Area. They don't know when they're going to reopen this airport. They're talking about having a meeting at maybe midnight to reassess what's been happening with the cleanup effort. As you can see, there is a lot to clean up. So they're going to meet at midnight. They say that they really don't think that the airport will be able to reopen tomorrow. It may be, as they say, that they may be able to have partial operation, but that the airport couldn't go back to full operation maybe for 48, maybe as many as 72 hours. So everything is pretty much up in the air out here. Once again, the airport is shut down. Most of the damage is what you can see. It looks a lot worse. It really does look a lot worse than it is. It's false ceiling that came down. They only had minor injuries out here. They had one woman who was fairly advanced in a pregnancy who had some problems. They put her in an ambulance, got her out right away. She reportedly tonight is okay. And that's about all we know out here. They're trying to clean up. They've got work crews coming in. They're going to meet at midnight. They don't know when San Francisco International Airport is going to be reopened. Back to you.
Thank you, Frank. We've been hearing reports about what might have happened at SFO. It is shocking to see that that's what actually happened and that Frank says it isn't that bad. Let me give you a couple of bulletins that have come in while Frank was on the air. We have a number now for people in San Jose. If you see water leaks or main breaks in San Jose, we have a number for you to call. That's area code 408-279-7888. Again, to report water leaks in San Jose, call area code 408-279-7888. Another note, AT&T is blocking all phone calls coming into the Bay Area, and here's the reason why. They say that so far, more than 1 million calls have been attempted. They say that's 2.5 times the normal capacity. The bulletins we brought you earlier, pack bills urging that you not make any calls unless you absolutely had to. This is the reason why, and so they've sort of taken charge and blocked calls coming into the region unless they were absolute priority and emergency calls.
Well, we have a couple of people who came that close tonight, and we showed you that first video, the first sense we had that something was very severely wrong, just how bad the quake was, and that was our own helicopter video of the top section of the Bay Bridge collapsing onto the bottom section, about a 50-foot long section that created that chasm. Now, this was our own video earlier tonight. Again, there you see it. Well, Thomas and Debbie Kelly from Oklahoma City were driving on the Bay Bridge right behind a car that actually drove into that chasm. In fact, you can see the car there, and they're here with us now, and they had the presence of mind to do what a lot of us, probably even in this business, wouldn't have done, and that is to pull out their home video camera and to shoot this. And this is the video that you actually shot. Thomas, Debbie, can you tell us what we're seeing here? Now, you're right at the front of this.
Yeah, we are. We came up on it, and then we turned around. We saw the break in the bridge, and we turned around, and I pulled out the camera when we saw this.
Look at this.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was my reaction, oh, my gosh. And I just froze. We couldn't believe it.
All right. Now, you could see the break at that point?
Yes, we had just turned around. We were sent up there with about 100 other vehicles, and it was sort of mass confusion when we got to this break. But these two cars were quite a ways back behind the rest of the group.
Thomas, you say you were sent up there. Were they already aware of damage? We understood the first street. Here's the slow motion which we've put together of this car going off the edge.
Gosh.
You were given permission to go up there.
It was
after
a
the quake.
mistake. They sent about 100 cars by mistake.
Told us to turn right at the bridge.
Turn right and go across. And when we saw it, we decided this is not what we need to do.
Well, they clearly then did not know that the bridge had broken at this point. Here we are seeing it again. Even the folks trying to handle it.
We had heard rumors. We were told or rumored that there was a break in the bridge, but when we got there and they said turn right and go across, it was, well, you know, maybe we don't know any better. Maybe we were misinformed to begin with.
Can you...
As you looked at what was happening in the other cars around you, how were all the other drivers responding? Did they know the same thing you did?
By this time, they had already turned around, and there were 3 vehicles on the bridge at that time. The one that went in, the Toyota pickup, and us, and that was it.
And when we turned around, we saw these people coming, and we thought, well, you know, stop them. And I don't guess the guy ever saw us because he was just going 50 or 60 miles an hour.
Yeah. Right.
And
just passed us and
never recognized it. He never stepped on the brakes. It didn't appear.
Could you tell us now what you saw after that occurred? Did you see the emergency vehicles come, or did you simply get off the bridge?
No, we were there for an hour and a half. We saw the people on the other side attempt rescue several times. We saw the Coast Guard land, a helicopter, a first attempt, and then he took off again, and Caltrans brought 3 winch trucks up, and they kept trying to get parts of the car. The whole axle and everything was bent up underneath, so there really wasn't anything good to get a hold of. There was a lot of fuel that had spilled down and run down the face of the broken section.
It's horrifying to watch this, and we're showing this to folks again and again just to give you an idea of what happened out on that bridge. These 2 folks were just trailing along there. Apparently had been given permission to go up on the bridge, even though we knew of the earthquake. They simply did not know the hole was there, and you saw what happened. Now, those folks have been taken out of the car. We do not know their condition at this time, though we do understand there were some severe injuries.
We watched them rescue the 2 of them. The driver, we watched them do CPR and then give up. Now, I don't know if that means they got him started and transferred.
The driver was in very bad condition the whole time. He really didn't seem to have any cognizance. The passenger seemed better able to understand what was going on and was trying to get out of the vehicle most of the time.
All right.
One of the things that's very baffling for people who haven't been on that bridge or who don't drive it regularly is the distance that you're talking about, that someone could accelerate after being turned around in an emergency situation to that point.
We were on the bottom deck originally, and everyone was locked in because, of course, of the fallen section. And what they did was they turned the people that were going to Oakland originally, who were blocked in, off onto Treasure Island and then up on the upper deck, and they were told to turn right. And like I say, 100 or so cars, and we were from out of town, had no idea what was going on.
Which is extraordinary.
And as you approached the thing, it really wasn't obvious. I mean, it looked like a mirage in the desert or something. You could just see a very, slight gradient difference. And going 50 or 60 miles an hour, you really didn't have any time to react.
Well, we thank you for your quick reactions and that extraordinary video tonight. Again, this is being seen across the country, and now I think people, when they see that kind of footage, will understand the predicament that this area finds itself into, and Godspeed in getting back to Oklahoma.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, Thomas and Debbie Kelly, and this is their home video tonight after they were given permission to go up on the Bay Bridge, and this is what they saw. These the vehicles that we have seen all through the course of the night, being, the rescue attempt that went on. That these vehicles in the eastbound section, that is the upper section, actually collapsing and falling onto that lower section.
Incredible that they had the presence of mind to take the pictures in the middle of such an urgent situation. Right now we want to go down to the South Bay, where our South Bay Bureau Chief Rigo Chacon is standing by, I understand, with the mayor of San Jose, Tom McHenry.
We're reporting from the Emergency Operations Center here in the South Bay. Of the 3 largest cities in the Bay Area, we appear to be the luckiest. The most visible example of the fact that something was wrong was simply in traffic. Traffic lights all over the city were out. Traffic jams were horrendous, but that was by far the most visible item we saw. The damage that we saw throughout the city was minimal. One building lost a wall. It was a building that was about to fall anyway, so the damage across the city is not something to worry about. There is a strong message coming from the water officials.